Alrighty, off and running for today. Lots of potential greens. Take a look at SPX with DTE stuff at the open, and I'm having some. Again, always seems to be Tastyworks slowness issues. So give me a moment. I might have to reboot Tastyworks, but you can see my toss on your screen. Always fly on inauguration day. What could possibly go wrong here? All right, so this was yesterday's open was a little funky, and I think a couple of us got burned at the open. So we'll keep an eye on where things are, but I'm looking at the 38.20 center, 37.70, 38.70. Somewhere around 1760 and change. So 38.20 is what I'm looking at. That's where we are right now. I'm giving it a second. 1760, 1770. See if we can get off and running here on an iron fly at the open. We'll see what happens. So ticks are positive. Everything's positive. Everything's up. It's a lovely day here. And we got the nation's capital as a fortress. Got inauguration. Who knows what excitement we're in for today. All right. I was trying to get filled at 1760 or 1770. That wasn't happening. Give it an extra second or two as we move around here, since we're moving a little higher. Maybe we'll get filled. So I'm going to give it a second or two. I ratchet it down. So I'm looking again at the yeah, I'm going to have to ratchet down. So my goal again is the 37.70, 38.20, and 38.70 iron fly. It's continuing to drop on me, trying to get filled a bit. So if anybody gets filled, great. And still can't get filled. So it's bouncing all over the place. All right, I finally got in at 1755, so that'll be our entry. We'll get that posted up, and let's work on some of the put stuff and call stuff as well. All right, this is frustrating with my Tastyworks just does not respond well anymore. Okay, so we're in on the day, still floating around 1770 or so as we move higher here. Probably could have waited it out and gotten in a little bit better than I did. But I'll take the 1755. Not going to worry about 15 cents yet. And let's see if we can get in on our spreads. Of course, it's sitting on a spread that we want. right, trying to get in the put spreads, and now we're going to try to get in on the call spread side of things. Don't like the calls, but if we keep moving higher here, maybe they'll pay off a little bit. All right, the put spreads, it's moving up a little too quickly. We'll give it a little bit of time. Hopefully we'll get filled on the call side. All right, so call side we're in. Our call spread is going to be the 38.55, 39.05. We did that for 75 cents. And then we're going to keep working the put sides here. We'll address, excuse me, sorry about my voice today. All right, still fussing with the put side, and keep an eye on things. Again, sorry about my voice, a little scratchy today. But we got in at 38.20 on the iron fly. We did that for again approximately 17.55, 18 bucks. So 38.20 plus the 18, we're looking at 38.38 as our break even on the upside, and then we're going to look at 38.02 as the break even on the downside for the iron fly. And then our put spreads a little stuck due to the iron fly holding some space on what we've got. So we'll keep an eye on that. And if we get any kind of pullback here shortly, I'm going to cancel that out. We're going to retrade. Yeah, problem is our iron fly is sitting right on one of our marks. And really want that, really would like to have that. All right, so trying to get in on the put side. Let's see if we get a little weakening here at all. Ticks are really positive. Advanced decliners all over the place right now, a little low, and we're fairly flat at the open here. Trying to get in on the put side and struggling a bit. So we'll give it a moment or two, see if we can get filled. If we get any kind of pullback, everything's looking higher, but we're definitely off the tops. Didn't quite get the credit I wanted, but we're in. So we are in on the 37.65, 3,700. I had to go a little wider to achieve my credit. Post it up, and then we can focus on other stuff. Abe is partially out of his Amazon. All right, so we're off and running on everything this morning. 38.20, we're within that range. So here's where we are. We're just sitting in here. We are looking at, I'm going to go to the daily real quick. And while we're doing that, I'm going to reboot my Tastyworks and see if we can actually get it to work properly. So we are looking at new highs today. So I haven't hit it yet, but we're close. We are within 3 points of an all-time high or a new high on SPX on this move up. So you got this little gap today. Everything's firing long a bit. If you were buying this, again, I've got stochastics starting to move up, definitely. We've got squeeze firing, more momentum, RSI climbing. This MACD is not quite there with it yet, but there's everything's pointing towards continued highs. But we're doing a little bit of selling in the morning here, but everything's still pointing good. I mean, the SPX still looks solid. So the rumor of its demise might be exaggerated, or it just might be today. Who knows? And I want to get in and out of things as early as I can today, and I want to take a look at some of our wheel trades that we have on. So we're looking good on the wheel side. Shop is one of our in-out trades. This thing's been a little underwater since 1185 to 1190 is our in-out trade on Shop, and we're at 1188 today. So that's totally fine. We've got 2 more days on this. So if we can get this thing to move up a little higher here, we just need it to hit 1190, and we're at 1187. So if Shop gives us any kind of a bump at all today, as we're getting down into this area, we'll be looking good. So I'm going to take a quick look at where we are. Got TOS rebooted, or not, sorry, TOS. I got Tastyworks rebooted. Our IRAs, everything's looking good. So Shop is, recovering a bit. It's still down. This 1188 or 1187 that we're at is fine. 1190 is our goal. So Shop's fine so far. Nothing to get all too wrapped up in Shop. So let's take a quick look at our wheel trades, and then we'll get on to other things that you guys may want to check in on. First one's going to be AMD. Yeah, a lot of lines, really busy. I don't know what this thing looks like on your screen share in here. There's a lot of lines. AMD's had this nice sell-off. We've sold this 87.5 put. It was a roll, so we had rolled it for a nice credit. So at 87.5, we're gapping up today, about a 1% up. That's got us in nice positive territory for AMD. Even if we reverse, I like the level we're at here. You've got MACD maybe starting to reverse today. You've got stochastic or TTM squeeze starting to potentially reverse. You've got RSI starting to head up, and stochastics is low but coming off of its lows. So this might be a really good time to get it in on something on AMD. We're going to look at DraftKings. So DraftKings is one we've been just wheeling everywhere, and we draw up what we've got since maybe we haven't talked about it. We have the 50 put that we sold on DraftKings. So we're down in this area for our put. Let's see if I'll tighten it up a bit. So we're well off that. Got DraftKings moving up a little bit today. Got the 50 put. So we're down here. DraftKings above that. So that's looking good. That thing's already at a pretty good amount of premium capture already. We also own NEO. So on NEO, we're actually sitting on the 55. Let me clean it up a little. Extend it out. Yeah, it won't be the 23rd. So, oh geez, that was not good on NEO. Give me a moment to fix that. Okay. So there we are on NEO. We're off of the lows. NEO's up a little bit today. So we've got NEO up, what is it? Not quite 1%. On NEO, our put spread looks good there. We're at over 50% premium capture on NEO. Let's take a look at another one. We've got Palantir, and we're at the 24 put on Palantir for this week. Okay, so there's our 24 put on Palantir. It's up nicely. Palantir's up 1% today. So that's nicely off of our lows. And that one looks good. So that's at 8 cents from 28 cents. So we've got roughly a 71% winner right now in Palantir. We'll let it roll. Shop is now over the 190 mark, and that's good for us. So if it continues to stay above 190, we're in good shape on our in-out trade that expires Friday. Our iron fly for today is still pretty well flat on the day. And let's skip to the last wheel trade, which I think is just TNA, which TNA here looking great. Let's put in our trade. But on TNA, we own the 67 put, which is way the heck down here. In fact, let's just move the old one. We're just continuing to sell this as this thing moves up. And we'll redraw. So we're in great shape. We would need a pretty significant move downward up to close to 20% crash in TNA. Now this is triple leveraged, so we don't need 20%. We may only need a 7-8% for this thing to really take down quickly. But TNA is looking good. When we overall look at Russell, this thing is just continuing to establish new highs all the time. And I was going to put on a tiered broken wing butterfly, but I bailed out on that, and I decided just in my IRAs, I'm just going to sell IWM. So I'm just selling the Russell small cap ETF. So this has been a go-to play for me IRA-wise for a long time. Continues new highs for Russell. We sold the puts. We're in good shape on those. So nice gains in the IRAs that we have. So if there's any stocks you guys want to take a look at, looks like a lot of people are in some flies. Vasily's got the 3765. Yep, similar strikes than me. I'm a little higher on the call side. So 17.6 for the fly, Bhavesh. Good. If I had probably waited a little bit more, or we'd waited till now, obviously we'd be in at 18 on this thing. We'll take a look at Momo. So a little request for Momo, which I don't know anything about this thing. But again, not knowing much about it, to me, the concern is it's still below the 200, and it just broke the 100. The 50 is still down here. So it's stacked to the downside. So we could be seeing the breakout, but this has been in a downtrend forever, a big downtrend. And if you go back, I don't know if 6 months is even long enough. This thing had highs somewhere up here in the 20s, and even higher if you go back to, now maybe we'll just look at the weekly and scale in something. This thing's been up as high as 52, and it's at 15. So anything with the word Momo, that's at 15 from 52 is not Momoing. But if it's something you're looking at short term, then to me, this was the area that you wanted to get in. So you could see when the Bollinger Band squeezed, it got tight, squeeze formed, it broke through right in here. So this area here was the time to really get into this thing at 14. Doesn't mean you've missed the move. I don't know how far this thing can go. I don't know enough about it. but just from a technical standpoint, you can, I don't know what you're going to do in it. So if you're looking at if you're looking at a call, fine. If you're looking at a put spread, maybe fine. If you maybe below 15 or something, below 14, just not something that I'm comfortable with on a trade. And my other thing on Momo would be, it does have weeklies, so there's obviously some liquidity there. So you might have to take a look and determine what you feel is you're most confident in. And we're still watching the S&P just continue to march higher today. So, not putting our call spreads in any trouble at this point, but it's obviously going to put pressure at some point on the iron fly. We've got almost an 18-point swing, so we sold it for 17.55. So we've got an 18-point move off of the 38.20. So 38.38 is where we are. So we're okay for now. We've got some room to move, and we're only 5 points off of our entry. So we'll let that thing percolate a bit. Maybe we'll jump into some of the FANG stocks here and just take a quick run through FANG. This is a nice looking potential move on Apple here, but Apple's squeezing. You can see these Bollinger Bands getting tighter. Apple's in a definite squeeze, and you haven't seen a reversal of the momentum yet. Maybe a little sneak peek with MACD here. Maybe a little sneak peek with RSI moving higher. So RSI is a go. MACD is not a go yet. Squeeze is not a go yet. But if you want to get in early on Apple or sell a put, I think you've got opportunity here. I'm going to wait a little bit longer on Apple, but this might be something to keep an eye on with the moves on Apple. I wasn't really calculating IV rank on the IV on SPX this morning. So I'll keep a look on that because we've got a little bit of a pullback here, and our iron fly is pretty flat. So we're good. Facebook has definitely made a rally off of these lows. Everything reversed here. You had RSI at almost an extreme, almost oversold levels. MACD's reversed. Stochastic's moving higher. Squeeze is reversed, and this is moving higher. So this was a good move. If anybody sold puts on this, great. I don't know that I'm getting long calls yet. I think this thing needs to chill out. It might have to have a little lower low, higher low, and then the next higher high. But who knows? Heading into earnings, Amazon looks similar to Apple here. Amazon's been really tight. So this thing has just been in a really tight range. You had a little bit of a rally and then a sell-off. And now are we going to rally back again? MACD, squeeze, RSI, all saying, yeah, we're probably maybe moving higher here. So it might be an option to place something in Amazon. NVIDIA looks the same as Apple. Here, you're starting to break higher here. You've been in a endless squeeze on NVIDIA since December 4th. You've been in a squeeze this entire time. It's just these Bollinger Bands have not expanded one bit yet. However, you might start to be seeing that there's some peaks of opportunity here. So NVIDIA could be ready to make some runs at a new high at some point here. So we'll keep an eye on NVIDIA. I'm not ready to jump into it because nothing's giving me the confidence to want to do that yet. Google's already gone, so that thing's taken off. Google's actually today setting a new high, so new intraday highs on Google. So this old support pretty well gone. We've got some nice support down in here as well on Google, which is this gap up. So if you're drawing a little bit of support here, something in this neighborhood of support on Google, big move up. I've missed the move. It's already gone. If you had something on in Google, great. Microsoft starting to look like it wants to make some moves. I love how all these tech stocks want to make these moves, and they're going to try to regulate and crack down on all of them. So we'll see what happens with the new administration if they go after everybody, right away. But I see there's a new cabinet for, it's I don't know if it's antitrust person, czar or something like that, but or monopoly czar, something like that. But Biden has now appointed a antitrust or monopoly cabinet member, which is a new cabinet position, which means some of these bigger companies are going to come under fire at some point in the near term. Netflix, holy moly. So had the earnings yesterday. In fact, missed earnings, but shot the heck up. So who knows on Netflix. But if you had it and had a flyer on a call, you did great. If you had a strangle on it, you're probably not too happy today. CRM coming off the lows. This thing has just been stair-stepping down, and maybe we're going to see some bottoming action here. But CRM has been under a lot of pressure. It's a good opportunity here. This might be a place to place some put spreads on CRM. Excuse me. Adobe just continues to sell and hit new lows. So Adobe, since the first of the new year, has just been selling off pretty heavily. It's at a 10% sell-off already here. And maybe, just maybe, this thing's starting to bottom out a little bit. So this, nothing to do right now unless you want to sell put spreads. The only reason I'm not looking to sell put spreads yet is that Bollinger Band is pretty open. And that means there could be a potential lot of room here. And I want to see us at least break the 8 and then start to use it as support. And if it gets rejected at the 8 or the 21, or so far, the 8 has kicked the lid on this thing. Every time it's come up and hit the 8, it sells off. So Adobe, nothing wrong with it, I don't think. But they're selling the shares of Adobe. Same thing with AMD's been under some pressure lately, and we'll see what happens. We're going to keep holding this. We're going to keep holding this put spread, and we'll see how we go. Workday, similar look to a lot of the others since the beginning of the year. And, just a lot of selling. This thing has dropped from 260 to 220. So this has had a pretty significant, 40-point sell-off here. So over 15% correction on it. So a 15% down move on Workday. These could be some support in here. Potentially, you might see a double bottom and chance to move higher off of this little area here without me doing any more extensive work on it. Just stochastics looks terrible. MACD maybe turning, and TTM not giving me any encouragement. So I'd want to see maybe a break of the 8 or 21, come back down, test it, and then go off to the races. Although if you're going to get a double bottom here, maybe it's going to come back up quickly. So hard to comment on that one. It's really an indecisive chart for me. Doesn't give me a clear direction. Tesla here has been just sideways trading here. So is it a bull flag potentially on this big move? Sideways consolidation on Tesla. Stochastics is or MACD is weakening. Stochastics is okay. Squeeze has been showing good momentum, but we're flirting with overboughtness in here. So I still think this thing goes higher. I still think it's 1100 by the end of this year. But I'm going to watch for a little bit more sideways action and maybe even sell some puts on that thing. DocuSign looking fairly decent here. Could extend this line out, which would actually continue if this line was extended all the way out to here. It's been a support, been a resistance, a little bit of resistance, 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 support. So this thing has turned from a resistance line to a support line. DocuSign might be in good shape here to see something move higher. Today's move may not be too bad to give you a chance to get in on DocuSign. Teledoc, it's already gone for me. This thing's just exploded out, and I don't think there's anything I can do with it. Here, Beyond's another one that's trying to recover. It's finally breaking above the 200. It's hit some lows. Maybe it's a double bottomish in this area here. Some solid support, maybe around 113. As we move up, and squeeze might be getting ready to give some positive momentum. RSI though is coming out, and MACD. So showing a little weakness. I'd want to give it an extra day or two. I don't know what your play would be in Beyond. But for me, I don't see enough yet to give me a direction. Just that's me. Peloton hit a new high, sold off of that new high. A lot of negative momentum coming out of the stock for a little bit right here. Entering a squeeze, you're getting really tight on these Bollinger Bands. So for me, I'm going to wait and let's see if it consolidates in here for either another run or a sell-off. But you've got good support in here. Peloton might be, a wheel trade or something opportunity. We'll see. It's a little more expensive for some, but looks good. Roku, it's gone. So if you're in it, great. If not, I can't chase. At this point, all right, Ballard Power. Ballard Power just exploded out of this move right here. So you can see once it exited the squeeze here, it did not look back. The breakout wasn't immense, and then it just blew up. So Ballard blew up. It's out here. I don't know what you do. So S-Man asking about it. I don't know what your play is. You could maybe a butterfly because it'll be a low cost. You're seeing momentum starting to come out. You're way overbought. Way overbought at these levels. So you're overbought, but squeeze momentum still positive. But MACD maybe tailing off. Is it the new normal to stick in this range? I don't know. So I don't know what you do with this thing in here. You want to buy? I don't think I would sell premium at this point because I'm too concerned about this thing refilling some of these gaps and coming back down to earth here. This is the 21 EMA. At some point, this thing's going to get retested. It always does. Doesn't mean it's going to happen anytime soon, but I think there's more downside than upside. But I don't want to go against this giant trend. So I don't know what you do in it. To me, you could play a call or an in-out trade higher and hope to catch something. SPX is making a big move higher right now. So we're only 8 points away from another iron fly stop. Iron flies have sucked this year. There's a significant drag on the portfolio. Everything else has been winning. If iron flies were just flat on the year, I'd be up huge. Iron flies are murdering me in the new year so far. And you've got a big green candle here, big ticks, big move on advanced decliners, everything pointing up. So we got to keep an eye on this thing, but we're not looking good on this iron fly. again today. I've looked good on every one expected move iron fly, and I'm almost wondering if, and I'm not going to change my methodology, but if I had only played the expected move iron fly and waited till it made one expected move on the day, we'd be profitable on the year. But we are rolling higher on SPX. So let's tune in a little bit more here. And on the 5 minute, this thing is going parabolically higher today. Just up, 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 up. Everything is stacked. It's way overbought on the 5 minute, but things are pointing up. Let's keep an eye on it. It's just continuing to test new highs, new highs, new highs. It's set an all-time high already. It's tested it twice, and it's continuing to move up. So you've got a big move higher on SPX today. We still have a little room, but not a lot. What we need is a little bit of a break in this little succession here could potentially tell us we might have a chance to drop, but I don't know. Nothing is pointing to that way. When you're looking at your ticks, solid 600 higher, advanced decliners moving solidly higher, 15-minute pointing straight up. Here, the only thing is, will this 5 minute tip over at some point, and do we see any relaxation in the MACDs? Another green bar just hit, bright green, so that's a positive momentum on it. If you're looking at UVXY, this thing's off its lows. So UVXY is off its lows while SPX is moving higher. However, this thing looks like it may drop further. Who knows? But SPX is just on a move today. So we're at 385 now. So we're going to get stopped on this iron fly in about 4 points. So I'm going to bring that up on the screen, and it's going to be a pretty good hit because it moved this quickly this morning. So I'm waiting for 38.38. We're at 38.35 and change, and continuing to push higher on the morning. So let's see if we can get this thing to just chill out for a bit. 38.36. We're 2 points away. Just another, excuse my language, just another shitty iron fly, and that's been just a murdering piece to our portfolio, our trading portfolio, because that is the only thing that's down on the year. And we're only down a little bit in our portfolio, and it's all due to iron flies. It has been a terrible year for these. And at some point I'm going to learn and maybe cut my size back, but I haven't done it yet. All right, so keeping an eye on this thing. So this is the number one thing that we're watching right now is, are we going to get up into here? And we're only a couple points away from getting stopped. So we're really watching. I'm watching this 38.38. It's terrible. You grabbed on. All right, so we'll watch this little bar up in here. Can we get this thing to just chill out for a bit and get this thing to roll over and give us time to get out before we hit another high on the day? So we need to see ticks chill, made a run. Is it going to continue that run or not? So we'll keep an eye on it. And any insights on UVXY? No, but it's still off of its lows where it opened, still trying to push higher on the day. But it's, UVXY has a bunch of overhead to push through. So something to watch out on this morning. So we're on our next bar here, and it's another positive bar on the squeeze, another positive green bar here as we move higher, and we'll keep watching our iron fly. So we'll keep it up on the screen. Yeah, Ernie, iron fly has been absolutely brutal. Like I said, my portfolio is not down very much, but it is down on the beginning of the year, and it's all iron fly related. And without the iron fly, I would be up significantly right now. I'm not giving up. We'll keep going. All of this election stuff hopefully just starts to chill out, and we can get back to less big swings. But the first time in office, and you never know what's going to happen. I'm a little shocked at the markets today moving up this much on Inauguration Day. I would have thought there'd be a little bit more trepidation going into it. All right, back to tying the new high, and we're only 2 points away. So I'm just going to keep it here. Why are we doing these? Yeah, well, we're doing them because we had a fantastic year last year doing them and made great money. And then now this year we're sucking wind on these iron flies. In fact, right now I am 5 wins and 6 losses, and that counts putting the second one on a day. So I'm not quite at 500 on these. And a couple of the losses have been pretty good size. So 2 of them back on the 6th. The 6th was the worst day. That's when I took the largest hits. The rest of these hits haven't been terrible, but back on the 6th, those losses were heavy that day. And not only did I lose on the initial, I lost on the second one that day, so that was twice as bad there. So we're just flirting right now. It's just teasing us. It's like watching a bad movie or an accident. We can't turn away. But I am staying mechanical, and I'm sticking with what brought me here. So if we take another loss, we're taking another loss. We're going to throw a second one on, and we'll see. We'll see where we go on the day with those. The other thing to keep an eye on too on this, we're still 2 points away, and we're still in that area. Our call spread, while not being tested at 38.55, that's also gotten in a little bit of water here, but not terrible. So more worried about the iron fly. We're now hitting a new high. 38.37 was the new high. At 38.38, I'm out. So I'm going to watch. I've got it queued up here to bail out manually on this thing. Let's see if we can get any relaxation. If you're looking at the 15-minute stochastic momentum, it's still pointing up. It's not showing any indications of flattening. And even the 5 minutes really not showing any indication of rolling over or calming down at this point. Ticks still haven't had a negative tick all day. Advanced decliners dropping a tad. So swatching here, what I want to see is a dark blue line here and another green bar here. And if we're looking at the UVXY play, we're still down here and dropping on things. So UVXY is still down, not showing us any signs of trying to make some recovery. And we're now hitting another new high intraday. We're at 38.37, so I'm 1 point away. Queued up on this thing, 38.10, 14. We're still hanging. And we all know that as soon as we stop out on this thing, it's going to reverse because that's the way it goes. Still 1 point away, so I'm still hanging in there. And every 5 minutes I can hang, decay is coming out a little bit more. IV has dropped a bit, so that's helping us on the day. So can we get some negative ticks in here? everybody lean a little bit. Well, I don't want to say right or left because that's probably got a political connotation, but everybody lean a little bit here. And let's see if we can get this thing to drop. Another 5-minute bar is higher, but not setting a new high. We're close. Still 1 point away. And yeah, extraordinarily profitable. So I'm not too worried. We've given back a good chunk of those profits from late last year so far, and we'll see if we can hopefully get some of those back. I'm going to stay consistent on it, at least for the time being, because that's where you become a much more consistent, profitable trader. Because if you bail on strategies just because of a handful of losses, and again, we're talking 6 losses. It's not like we've had 20 losses in a row, but we've had a good string. 6 losses in a row, you got to be able to withstand it, and you got to size appropriately. And if you do, and you can hang in there, you can be profitable long run. So 38.32, getting close. 38.37. I'm sorry, 38.37.50. All right, it's time to potentially look to bail on this thing. Yep, there it is. So I'm out. See if I can get closed on it, and I did. So another loser on iron flies, which just been a absolutely shitty month. Excuse my language. So it's a pretty good sized loss today. So it's a $7 loss for me on this one. That matches some of the largest losses that we've had in here. Really, really a killer. Just taking me off on these. I am going to look to put on a second one here, though. So I'm going to look at the 38.40, and let's see what we can get for that one. So the 38.40, I'm going to look to put this one on. It's sitting around 15.90 right now, 16. Man, this thing just wants to go higher. Even the second one makes me a little nervous. That this day does not look like it wants to chill out at all. So new record highs and new record beatings on this iron fly. Size appropriately and keep it going. That's all you can do, is try to stay appropriately sized. So I'm going to go back in on another iron fly here at the expected move. And I'm going to do the 37.90, 38.40, 38.90 on these. I did this one at 16. So we're at the 38.40. We did 16, so we're at 38.56 on the high end, and we're at 38.24 on the low end. And see if we can get our money out of these. All right, so we're back in on another one, and we're still just hitting more and more new highs on the day. So may or may not be the best thing to do, but I am sticking to the mechanics, and it's going to be painful. Close it up here. All right, so stopped out of the first one. We're in a second one, staying mechanical, and also keeping an eye on the call spread, which is in territory for being in trouble as well on this. So I'm going to look to potentially close out the call spread right in here. So 240, I'll look to close. I'm at 230. So it's open up on my screen. I'll stay manual with it. And we'll see if we can keep that call spread from getting taken out as well. But it's not looking good. Still have not had a negative tick on the day, and we are almost an hour in. So we'll keep going. And 5 cents away, there's my, okay, going to stop out on the call spread as well. So there's another miserable day, but at least I'm out, and I'll post that up too. All right, stopped out on the call spread. On the short strike, I'm gonna let the long percolate until I start to see any kind of a rollover in here. So my long strike on that is it's not worth squat. So I'm gonna let it fly for a bit. It's only worth a couple cents at this point in time. So I stopped on the call, which is probably a good time for this thing to roll over. And the 5-minute has been pretty flat. This thing could start to roll. 15 still showing up, and we still have yet to have a negative tick on the day, an hour in. So there's our stop on the upside. And there's our stop on the downside on our second fly. So we'll see what happens with the second flies. Just scanning through chat. I'm not monitoring. I'm monitoring some of the chat that's in here, but I'm not monitoring Slack chat much. So. All right, so we'll keep an eye on things. We're still pushing higher on the day, so this thing is in a steady march higher, and so I'm glad we're out of the fly and the put spread, or I'm sorry, the call spread. The nice thing on this today is you've got, you give it some help on our wheel trades. So wheel trades are looking good. AMD's up. DraftKings is up. NEO's down a bit, not really affecting us much. Palantir's down a fraction, but we're actually up on the day. Shop is now a big winner. So we're well past our in-out spread top. Shop's up $32 today with a couple days to go. So this thing's what is it? About a 40% winner so far in Shop. And then TNA is up again today. In fact, TNA is now at 2 cents. So we can actually close this thing out, take the 2 cents, and maybe throw something else on. So we'll let TNA percolate a bit. We had a little bit of hedges on. That's bumping into us a bit today, but we'll see what happens. on it. And the put spreads are in good shape today. So, all right, there's where we are so far this morning. We're almost at the 10:30 mark, so we're an hour in on this death march higher, which has been terrible again for the iron flies. Good for almost everything else. S&P advanced decliners, 171 advancers, which seems like a weirdly low number. But some breakout opportunities. Apple is one. So Apple looks good here. Amazon, another break opportunity. Boeing, another break opportunity here. So Boeing looks really good for a trade. CRM, a break opportunity as well. Canadian Solar looks good. Cognizant looks really good for a squeeze breakout here. Facebook making a big move higher. Microsoft, Netflix just exploded. And then I don't know what this NRZ is. So I want to look for some more wheel trade opportunities. What I don't like is I really don't want to put a big old wheel trade on when we're rocketing higher on the day. I'd prefer to put a wheel trade on a down day. And a down day more for the market. Space is a potential wheel opportunity, although maybe momentum's coming out. Here, Chewy, I love Chewy, still one of my favorites. And we may look to do something in Chewy here. Datadog, another wheel trade opportunity. I think this looks good. So Datadog. All right, I'm not finding anything on that. So. All right, so Datadog, looking at next Friday, we could make a 1% return selling the 95. And the 95 happens to be right at this other fib level down here. It's also where the 100 is. And things look to be trending up. So Datadog is a good opportunity for a wheel trade for next week. Neo, I like it. I think Neo, we're already in this week's, so I'm not doubling up until I'm out of this week's trade. If you're not in Neo, if you put on a 9-day and you wanted to get about 1%, you could sell the 51. So you could sell this 51, which I'd be totally fine with Neo at 51. Our first negative tick of the day, of course, after we've closed everything out. And now you're starting to get a little rollover on the 5-minute. But Neo, if you're not in Neo for a wheel trade, I think it would be a good opportunity here for that. I'm sorry. Well, let's say Workhorse also has had a nice sell-off here, and I like Workhorse, and I could potentially go out somewhere around the 21 and get almost a 2% return for next week. So this is a real possibility on a trade for me right now. Looking into things is looking at the 21. In here. So you could sell the 21 put in Workhorse and have almost a 2% return in a week, in a week's time at the 21. So that's not a bad looking deal. I think I'd be happy owning Workhorse down in here. This is a pretty good amount of support down in this 20 range. And even though there's some weakness coming, I mean, I'll give it may give it a day or so, but I like the pullback on Workhorse. Lee moving higher. Xpeng moving higher. These are all, moving up nicely. A little late. I want to pull back, a little bit more of a pullback for me to jump in. Ride is giving us that pullback, and then also Helion really giving us that some more pullback. And Helion, looking at this thing as well. Again, this is something I'm not opposed to owning. If I could sell the 15, I could make about a 2% return next week by selling the 15 put. Now it's pulling back. The lows are down here. Is it going to set new lows? I don't know, but there's potential here. We're in a squeeze. Could be a squeeze to the downside. So this is really tight ranging stuff, but Helion could be decent in there. Let's see, SBE. Anybody's posting anything, so just keeping an eye on where everything is. So SBE is another one that we were in a week ago. We had a winner in it. You had a nice pullback. I like SBE. It's one of my favorites. And SBE, looking out into next week, where do we see some potential support? Boy, you could sell the 35 or the 34. So there's some definite support in, maybe in this area here. That'd be like the 35. So if you sold the 35 right now, you could almost take in. Now it's a little less liquid than other ones, so I don't like the lack of liquidity. Really widespread, so I'll probably stick away. But because getting out might be difficult, or rolling it might be difficult. But you could really have a pretty nice return on SBE down in this range. This range here. All right. So we're keeping an eye on our second iron fly, which is at a $1, roughly a 90-cent profit right now. So we're making some of the money back, but it was such a big hit on the first one. It's going to take a lot of these to recover, unless I let this thing roll past the $1.50 on the second win, which is very possible today. But I don't. As soon as I stop being mechanical, that's where I'm going to get cooked. So I'm going to watch this, and you've got the turnover on the 5. You've got a lot of flattening on the 15. So keeping an eye on things. GM. So GM has earnings coming up. This thing has just been parabolic. Earnings on GM are on this 10th of February. It's too far for me, but if GM will pull back to the 21 EMA, I'm going to look to potentially start wheeling GM as well. ARC is just gone. CRISPR is another opportunity to get in. It's a little bit more higher price stock, but this could be something to take a look at. I like CRISPR here. It's a little bit overbought, and some sell-offs here would be good to watch. And let's keep an eye on SPX. So we're in good shape on everything so far. For the second trade, just took the big loss on the first. Starbucks, not bad. I think Starbucks is another potential wheel trade opportunity in here, but you have earnings coming up on the 26th. So earnings are next week. There's nothing I really want to do on earnings, but if it might make a run up into earnings. There was some support back in here that got broken. So I would have to look at any other additional support and probably put on, since we're heading into earnings, I'm not going to touch this thing with anything. So you got some support in here, and it's trying to fight through. It didn't hit this second fib. It broke this first one a little bit, but really didn't. It closed below it this day, but barely. Closed right on that fib level, and now you're moving up. So you could get a nice little move in Starbucks. Not ready yet. Win, though, I am starting to like. I'm only liking this for a wheel trade. So you've got earnings coming up on Win. The earnings are February 4th, but I would only go to January 29th. This support level continues to hold. You've got it starting to enter a squeeze. Looks like might be some reversal of its move here. I'm actually really interested in doing Win for next week. I could sell the, wow, these are wide spreads. Holy cow. This is extraordinarily wide. If I went under the 105, I could actually go down probably closer to 103 or so and have a pretty nice return. Maybe even the 102 strike in here where there's some additional support down in here on it. What I might want to do, see what Fib says. So here's some Fib levels on it. You've got support at 105 and you've got a Fib level at 105. That's some pretty solid support at 105 on this. You've also got the 50-day moving average that's also at 105, 106. Bottom of the Bollinger Band. I like it. So I like Win in here, and it's very possible that I might look to sell something, even though these are wide bid-ask spreads. This thing is not really. I'm surprised that Win's not a little bit more liquid than this. Even for this week, it's not. Anyway, so Win's a possibility of something. Carnival Cruises are also looking like these are ready to resume their march. Real good opportunity for wheel trade. However, they have earnings Friday, so you can see earnings coming up here on Friday. So I want to be aware of earnings. Let me take a look at that Iron Fly real quick. So it's still fussing around. We're right at our center strike at 38.40. It's down 80, or it's got an 80 cents profit so far. So we still need some decay to come off of this thing. But Carnival Cruise Lines, let's wait till earnings are over, and that might give us something. I don't want to do Norwegian as well. Earnings are not till February 18th, so Norwegian has a ways to go, but Carnival's earnings are Friday, which could really impact this. But things look, halfway decent in here, and I think I do like Norwegian. Maybe selling something around 23 or 24. Doesn't give you much room for next week. Love. If you think that, and Love reports earnings on the 28th, I could potentially sell the 29th wheel trade and look to get out ahead of time if this thing makes any kind of a move into earnings. But it might prevent the decay from happening, so I'm going to stay away from Love or look at the Delta. There's some opportunities here to sell something around 39. So we'll see. On that, Riot has had a nice pullback. Again, this thing's a little bananas for me. But if you like it and you think that there's some long-term opportunities in Riot, it's been a huge run-up, man, just massive run-up here. But it's had a, 30% pullback. Is that right? So 7. Yeah, 25%. It's pulled back 25% already, and another big down day today. I'm not touching it here, but if this thing continues any more of a slide, I might look to wheel riot a little bit. We could actually wheel right now the 16 for next Friday for over 1% return in 9 days. So that's not bad either. S&P continues to just keep it march higher, man. This thing just only wants to go up. 5 minutes turned back up, pushing new highs. You've only had 2 ticks close negative today. All right, I'm going to be signing off here in probably about 5 minutes or so. So if there's anything else you guys want to cover, let me know. Today's the 20th. A lot of wheel opportunities on some of these stocks that flew. I mean, GameStop was absolutely ridiculous. There's nothing I'm doing in this thing until it comes back down. But if I can get it to come back down to 25 or so, I'll continue to potentially wheel it. Castle, I'm not worried about. Overstock is another opportunity to wheel Overstock. Sun Power, some opportunity. That's pretty well gone. In it, Skills is gone. Open's gone. I mean, you've got a lot of stocks that are just on fire that are too far gone right now. This is bananas, irrational exuberance, in my opinion. Most of these do not deserve anything near where they are. If you're in them, great. I'm finding it very, very difficult to find more and more really good quality trades to get in here, to be honest with you. I'm keeping my hedges on, even though they're hurting me a little bit right now on the overall P&L. Not hurting me as bad as stupid IFs are, but I'm keeping these hedges on because this thing is bananas, and a lot of stuff's becoming way overdone. Rocket is another one for me. The only problem with Rocket is, well, it's got earnings, but not till February 9th. We could potentially look to wheel something out around 18 and a half or 19. If the 19 is a decent deal, this thing has not really gotten down here more than once, but Rocket's selling off. Anyone who thought Rocket was this great, fantastic company that was only going higher has watched it dwindle by 40% off of its highs so far. So it's been cut. It's been cut in, not in half, but it's been cut in, a quarter or something. So Rocket sucks. We'll keep an eye. Fastly is another one. I really like this stock. I think this is also one for the long term and one that I like the stock. And since we are a little off, I mean, we're hitting new highs. Things are starting to fire here. Fastly is very likely my next wheel trade for next Friday. I could put it on today, and you can get pretty doggone, not pretty far, but you can get down to like 85 in here, where we have a little bit more support on things down here around 85. It's held it before in this area, so 85 might be a range for me. There's a lot of moving averages stuck right in there, so I might look to sell that put. So the 85 put gives us some room. I mean, this thing can definitely move, 5 to 10 points in a day on Fastly, but I like everything on the positive side here. In fact, maybe even going a little higher on this thing and going closer to 86. 86 might even be better to sell. You can get some nice premium at 86 on Fastly. Unfortunately, it's not really much of a marginable option or stock, but I do like it. And I think selling something on Fastly, it's definitely one that's on my list. And Vicky, I'll take a look at NVAX here. Novavax, I believe, right? Yeah, Novavax. Good pullback today. Everything was looking good all the way up until the last two sessions, and then things started to tip over. You could be firing long on a squeeze. Pullback could be an opportunity today. It's a tough one. It looks good. It looked good here to get long. Then it's just consolidated a bit, tightened up. It's still in a squeeze. Maybe it's breaking to the upside, but RSI, stochastics, MACD, they're all turning over. Makes me nervous. They're not lined up for me. And I want to see things moving upwards, not moving downwards. Everything here is pointing, except for this little bit of squeeze momentum. Everything here is pointing downward. Now, we could see a bottom. This is the 21. If you wanted to sell a put spread on this, I think you have a good opportunity to sell a put spread if you wanted to do that. If you love it and think this is a fantastic company for the long haul, you could sell a put. And so there's a couple different ways to play it. Pins is the same thing to me. It's turning over, but how far down does this thing have to drop? How far? What do we have left in pins? I like some of these other stocks better. ATVI, I think somebody brought that one up the other day, or maybe not, but ATVI has just launched itself. So GameStop, ATI, look at this thing. This is what I liked. I like to see everything pointing up on a pullback. Obviously, everything's pointing up even more when you get the breakout. It just doesn't look like it was, when it was ready to go and it started to make the turn here, this was a good time, I think. Didn't give you much lead time on ATVI. Option on the wheel, ATI got assigned. Yeah, so here's a great example that, hey, getting assigned, if you're wheeling on a stock that you like, not the worst thing in the world. Because if you got, I don't know, Vesh, where you get assigned, because I think we got out of that one, but if you got assigned anywhere down in here, this thing's up 5 points off of 89. So you're up 6 points. So, per contract. And I don't know, did you write, Bhavesh, did you write any calls on this thing? Not yet. So I don't know that I'm ready to not write calls, but I'm getting ready to write calls now. Maybe somewhere up in here on it. So great. If you didn't write calls, you played it perfect and you got exactly what you need. You got earnings on February 4th. But next week you could sell the 97s or something along that line and take in another 1% move. If you get called away, great. You're going to get $2 more appreciation, and you're going to get almost $1 more. So you can get taking $3 more bucks. So I'd probably look to me. I might be writing the 97 for next Friday, which would give me $2 more in appreciation and another $1, in premium. But anyway, so good call, good move. Gabe just slowly ringing the register on things here today. All right, I'm going to jump off, guys, and we'll stop recording.